Good morning, this is Dr. Tom Peters and welcome to the second part of my mock dissertation proposal. In the first video I explained that this mock dissertation proposal is not an example to follow, but I created this proposal to highlight mistakes students quite often make without realizing those mistakes. I would like to show you some of them. I can't possibly show you all mistakes students can make, but some of them that are unnoticed for the student usually, and I will guide you how to correct those mistakes. So this dissertation proposal is not something for any student to follow, but to learn from it. The previous segment ended with the purpose statement. The purpose statement, the last sentence of the purpose statement was, the purpose of this causal comparative research is to identify the connection between service member rank, corporal and private, and suicidal ideation after combat where they witnessed death. So if you are watching this video and you haven't watched the first segment, please watch that first, because this is about an industrial organizational psychology dissertation, and one popular topic is service members' response to various situations such as death, witnessing death in combat, and this mock dissertation proposal is centered around that topic. Every dissertation has to have a definition of key terms. In this dissertation proposal, combat is defined as using weapons in warfare or during a training exercise. Successful mission is defined as the overall success of combat. Suicidal ideation is defined as thoughts of intentionally terminating one's own life. Research question number 1. What is the connection between exposure to death in combat and suicidal ideation among non-commissioned officers? Research question number 2. What is the connection between exposure to death in combat and suicidal ideation among non-commissioned officers who completed a successful mission? What is the problem with these research questions, specifically with the first research question? Every research question has to contain the independent and the dependent variable, and this is a quantitative study, so the independent and the dependent variables have to be identified. But what we were talking about in the previous segment is that the rank of the officer can determine how they respond to witnessing death, but it's not known if there's a connection between the rank, such as being a corporal, a lieutenant, or a high-ranking officer, and witnessing death in their own troops or in their in the enemy troop. It's not known, so that's something we could identify. But what would be the independent variable in a research question pertaining to this area? The independent variable is the rank. The dependent variable is the suicidal ideation after witnessing death. So this research question number 1, is not appropriate because the independent variable is identified as witnessing death, and suicidal ideation would be the dependent variable. So it's not aligned. This research question is not aligned with the topic as we were leading up to it in the first video. The second research question, what is the connection between exposure to death in combat and suicidal ideation among non-commissioned officers who completed a successful mission? Almost correct, but still not correct, because we have the same problem that we had with the first research question. But the second part, non-commissioned officers who completed a successful mission, as opposed to those who did not complete a successful mission, that would be a relevant part of a research question. Hypothesis. There is no difference in suicidal ideation among privates, corporals, and lieutenants. This is fairly clear, and it's a good hypothesis. The alternate hypothesis, there is a difference in suicidal ideation among privates, corporals, and lieutenants. This is just a negation of one of them is a negation of the other. The second research question, there is no difference in suicidal ideation among privates, corporals, and lieutenants who participate in a successful mission compared to those who were in an unsuccessful mission. This is very clear. It's a good hypothesis. The alternate hypothesis is also correct. Hypothesis continues, number 3. There is no difference in the help-seeking behavior of privates, corporals, and lieutenants with suicidal ideation. There is a difference in the help-seeking behavior of privates, corporals, and lieutenants in suicidal ideation. You know, this hypothesis is not correct. But the hypothesis itself is correct. However, it is not aligned with the research. We stated that this is going to be a causal comparative study, meaning that some of the connections, causational connections, are known, but it's not fully understood what is, not every aspect of the connection is fully understood. So we know that witnessing death can increase suicidal ideation, but we don't know if the rank of the officer, their position in the troop, their responsibilities would play a role in developing suicidal ideation after witnessing death. Now, this research question, how is this tied in? This is not tied in at all, because help-seeking behavior is something else. If they think they have thoughts of committing suicide, if they think they are serious about it, is this correlated with, can this be correlated, can this go together with help-seeking behavior? So this research question would be appropriate for a correlational study, not for a causal comparative study. And I'm going to continue with the third part of the presentation.